So units raised to a power. When we're doing derived units, especially for area or volume, length times width times height, we end up with things like centimeters cubed, meters cubed. We need to know how to convert those. When the unit is raised to a power, the conversion factor also needs to be raised to a power. So let's look at the relationship between cubic centimeters and cubic inches. So we know the relationship between centimeters and inches. 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. But if I want to cube the unit, if I want cubic centimeters, I have to cube the numbers as well. So it's going to be 2.54 centimeters cubed is equal to 1 inch cubed. Now the right side ends up being 1 cubic inch. And I think that's where students get the idea that, oh, well, nothing happened to the 1. Well, that's because 1 cubed is still just 1. But 2.54 cubed, I think it's 16 something. 2.54 cubed is 16.387064. So is that many cubic centimeters to 1 inch. The common mistake is students say there's 2.54 cubic centimeters in 1 cubic inch. So let me draw you a picture and show you why that doesn't work. So here's a cube. I've either had too much caffeine or not enough today. My hand's shaky. It's 1 inch on a side. So the volume of the cube is the length times the width times the height. Length times width times height. So that's 1 inch times 1 inch times 1 inch, which equals 1 cubic inch. Easy enough, right? What if we measure that same cube with a centimeter ruler instead? So now this side is how many centimeters? 2.54. So now this is 2.54 centimeters. And this side is 2.54 centimeters. So now we find the volume, length times width times height, 2.54 centimeters times 2.54 centimeters times 2.54 centimeters. Is that 2.54 cubic centimeters? No, it's 2.54 times 2.54 times 2.54, which is this number. 16.387064 cubic centimeters. You have to cube the unit as well. If you're dealing with square units, then you square the numbers. Okay? So I think we have an example here. An automobile engine has a displacement of 289.7 cubic inches. It's a measure of the size. What's its displacement in cubic centimeters? So this word problem has a little more words in it, right? Well, there's only one number. Pull it out. 289.7. The units are really important. Cubic inches. That's probably where I'm starting because it's the only number they gave me. What are they asking me to find? Cubic centimeters. Okay, so that's where I'm going, cubic centimeters. When you're making this path, at first, disregard, just put aside the cube. Do we know a relationship between inches and centimeters? Yes. If we can do inches to centimeters, we can do cubic inches to cubic centimeters. So this is just going to have one step. So 289.7 cubic inches times, and here's our fraction, equals. So I want cubic centimeters up here, and I want cubic inches down there. I'm going to put the numbers in. It's 2.54 centimeters to 1 inch, but because the unit is cubed, I also need to cube the numbers. Okay? Your calculator probably has a button that will cube this number for you. If not, you can always just multiply by 2.54 3 times. So on my calculator, I'm going to do 289.7 times 2.54, and then I have an X to the box button, and I put a 3 in the box, and it cubes it for me, and I get this big old number, 4747.332441. It's just kind of satisfying number. Cubic inches. Centimeters. Sorry, cubic centimeters. How many sig figs should that have? 4. This 2.54 to 1 inch, that's exact. Our starting number had 4, so this should have 4. That means the uncertain digit is here, the fourth one over, 4747, 1, 2, 3, 4. I look at this number to see if I need to round up or down, and so 4747 cubic centimeters. Any questions? Yes?
Can you just write down the 16.38?
You can.
Cube conversion?
Yes, you can. Any other questions? How many cubic inches are there in 3.25 cubic yards? Well, they gave us one number, so let's write it down. 3.25 cubic yards. And they're asking us for cubic inches. If you look in a table of units, you're not going to see necessarily cubic yards to cubic inches. Do we know the relationship between inches and yards? Some of you do, some of you don't. It's 36. There's 36 inches in a yard. If you don't remember that, you just know there's 12 inches in a foot and 3 feet in a yard. You could do it in 2 steps. But the relationship is 36 inches is equal to 1 yard. So 3.25 cubic yards times, we've got one line. We want cubic inches in the numerator, cubic yards in the denominator. So those cancel out. I'm going to put these numbers into this conversion factor, but because the unit is cubed, I need to cube the numbers as well. You can do that separately and write in the cubed value, or you can just put them in 36 and raise it to the 3rd power. 1 cubed ends up being 1. So 3.25 times 36 cubed. 151,632 cubic inches. How many sig figs? 3. The conversion factor is exact, but we started out with 3. So the 3rd digit is the 1 there. That means I'm rounding to the 1,000s, to the nearest 1,000. I can't make that into 152, so be careful. Best thing is to put it in scientific notation, and as you're putting it in scientific notation, you can do the rounding. So 1 point, that's not a 3, that's a 5. 1.5, the next digit, the last one I'm keeping is a 1, but this is a 6, so the 1 rounds up to a 2. 1.52 times 10 to a power. And the decimal point would have been over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So this is an exponent of 5. I asked myself, was that a big number to start with? Yes, it was. Mrs. K has positive feelings about big paychecks. So the exponent is positive. And then the unit is cubic inches. This is the best answer. 151000 is also acceptable. Oh, no it isn't. It needs to be a 2. This is also acceptable. 152 is flat out wrong. Questions? Yes?
Like in the last problem, if you wrote out what 2.54 is cubed, you get a whole bunch of decimal places. Obviously it's going to matter how many you round to, right?
Yeah, so 2.54, that's an exact number. So then you do need to write down all of the digits the calculator gives you.
Just up to what it gives you, because will there still be some?
No, there won't be any more.
Oh.
No.